Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss about the due diligence, which is a major thing whenever you do a mergers and acquisitions. So in this due diligence, we will be going through with various aspects like market analysis, then competitive analysis, target analysis, and customer analysis. So this is the process of due diligence where we always see whenever we are trying to acquire a company or take over a company or merger with the another company, we see what is the market growth, supply and demand trends, price and profitabilities, the strategy and tactics which is taken by the respective companies, SWOT of the particular company, pricing of the product of the company, profitability, product service pipeline, customer loyalty. Then we see the leadership and the management assessment, the culture of the people in the company, and there are certain hidden risks in the organization. We also see the perception of the target versus the competition, and the concentration of the business, whether they are into niche market or the any other market, and the customer loyalty. Let us look at this concept one by one in very detail. So it is a process through which a potential buyer evaluates the target company. So whenever we will discuss about this, the target company is the company which is going to be acquired or it is going to be merged, or its assets for acquisition. It involves three things: financial records, examination, management decision, and the assets and liabilities. The organizational structure and the management is a part of the due diligence. The operational aspects we see the technology, processes, systems, financial aspects, operating performance means EBITDA, then protection tax liabilities, human resource environment, and various legal aspects and the information systems. So what is the checklist? The checklist is, first we will go with the resources for the due diligence, then assets appraisal, then cultural due diligence, accounting due diligence, intellectual property due diligence, and decision about the acquisition price. That is the last. Then we have obstacles. What are the obstacles in the due diligence? So mostly it's a lack of adequate information. Whenever you do the due diligence, some people will not give you the right information, or the organization is not structured well enough so that they have all the information right in place. Quality of information, insufficient disclosure. Sometimes people will not disclose correctly, or they will give you the half information. So it is the obstacles. The information which they provide, sometimes they will just give you the supersede information. They will not give you the proper and the quality information. And sometimes you will find that in the organization there is a lack of the governance, corporate governance. So because of this, there is no board meeting taken, there is no AGM taken carefully, board structure is not proper, internal committee is not there, CSR committee is not there. So this kind of stuffs this gives you the obstacles. And dilution of the control and management or share capital. So sometimes the people who are managing the organization is different than the people who are the promoters. So there is the issue in the obstacles. There are certain covenants we need to keep in mind. That is, first is the board seat. How many seats are there? How many board members are there? Whether there are interested party in the board, etc. So that is what we normally see. Second is infusion and non-withdrawal of the capital. So sometime covenant in the agreement, what we need to mention that on a certain occasion, whenever the company needs, after merger or the acquisition, whenever company needs any information, then there will be some infusion. If they need any fund, then there has to be an infusion of share capital in the ratio of share capital percentage. And there has to be a clause of non-withdrawal of the capital. So sometimes what happens is, if the company is not performing, they will withdraw the capital, the other party. So that also we need to be kept in mind. The retention of the key employees is the major covenants. approval on the compensation plans, submission of the information. So whenever there is a merger, then after merger there has to be some information like quarterly or monthly or fortnightly or half yearly has to go to the board, because otherwise the many mergers and the acquisitions are getting failed only because the post merger MIS is not given on right time, as well as the culture of the people changes, because two culture comes together, and sometimes there are some people, some organization have the conservative approach, and some organizations have the aggressive approach. So it gives you the mix of information which leads to the failure of the merger and acquisition. Appointment and the change of auditors, including statutory as well as the internal. um, Exit clauses, sometimes you need to find out the exit clauses also, and need to write in the covenants. And you have the minimum IRR, so people should know that the person who is acquiring a company should know that I should get the minimum IRR, internal rate of return. There are few covenants which is given emphasis, which is one is drag along and another is a tag along. So these are two rights. Normally, the shareholders they insist to put in the covenants. So one is drag along. This enable the majority of stakeholders to force minority stakeholders to join in sale at the same price. So this is majority shareholders drag minority shareholders whenever majority shareholders sells the shares. Second is tag along. This enables the minority shareholders to force the majority shareholders to let him join the transaction and sell his stake at the same price and the terms and conditions. So sometimes they also minority shareholders, they force the majority shareholders to let him join. Means whenever majority shareholder is selling the shares, the rights is given to minority shareholders that they are also have a right to join for that particular transactions of the sale of the shares along with the majority shareholders. Then right of first refusal. This right of first refusal is mostly for the both the side, majority shareholder as well as the minority shareholder. Sometimes it is applied only when there is a certain odd transaction, like it is only if the holder turns it down can seller approach other parties. So say for example there are three shareholders A, B and C. C wants to sell his shares to the outsiders, say for example D. So C will have to give a offer, have to offer the sale of shares to A first, A and B first. If A and B denies to purchase the shares, then only C can give it to D, but at the same terms and conditions. So same price also. So this is called as the first right of refusal given by C to A and B. So this is what called as a right of refusal. So it means the seller of shares first to offer to the ROFR, and then only he can sell to the other third party. What are the information to be obtained? So the information to be obtained are historical financial data, current financial data, forecasted financial information, business plans and the budgets for the next 5 years or 3 years, confirmation and representation from the lenders and the debtors, contract with the key staff, suppliers and the customers. These are the basic data which normally due diligence, at the time of the due diligence they ask. Techniques of getting the information. Sometimes you have to go for an informal discussion with the customer, supplier and the employees. In-depth interviews, you can call people, record their interviews. Observing ongoing daily activities, you can just stand in the factories or the offices or outside the office and see the movements of the trucks whenever you want to see the sales and purchases, where you just see in the office premise and see the movement of the people, the culture, the way of talking, the way of gratitude, etc. Surveys, you can talk to some other external people and get the surveys done, analysis of maybe financial data, surprise visits, and information from external sources like customers and vendors. Financials. So now, ultimately, whenever you do the due diligence, the marketing analysis, these are okay, but everything is drilled down to whether it is a market or supplier or external people or financial institutions or legal, etc. will boil down to the financial information. It reflects in the balance sheets and cash flow. Friends, you should always understand that three things are required to a company to grow and sustain whenever there is a issues, and it is called as sustainable growth. One, cash flow. Second, cash flow. Third, cash flow. These three things, if it is not there, then the company, you will not be growing, or your maturity stage will come faster and your growth phase will come on a lower side. Normally this is the diagram of the any company. This is starting phase, this is growth phase, this is maturity, and this is decline. This is decline rather. So if on a PLC, if you want to grow, then your cash flow should be intact. It should be intact. You should always monitor about the cash flow every time, so that the things are not go haywire any point of time. So this is what we normally see. So further drill down to the cash flows, you will get all the information about the receivables, about the debtors, about the advances, then creditors, etc. So let us go one by one. We'll take assets and liabilities. So first is assets and liabilities. We will see the capex, outstanding creditors, suppliers. Advance from customers is also a liability, so we'll see that. Then we have a cash flows, then inventory, then turnover, then receivables, revenue recognition concept, or revenue recognition when it get triggered, accounting procedures and policies, and organization structure. Here I would like to add inventory and receivables and payables. Normally in due diligence, they normally say that these should be less than 180 days. So inventory, then turnover, then receivables and payables. Inventory, receivables and payables. This should be less than 180 days. Otherwise, they will not take for the your DCF technique and as an asset to the organization going to the company. Again, another sources, secondary sources are internet, newspapers, reports, market intelligence, regulatory organization database, competitors, suppliers, customers, industry association, chamber of commerce, etc. Documentation to be prepared. One is articles, memorandum of association, partnership dates. If it's a partnership, dates are going to be merged as a slump sale. Minutes and resolutions, organization chart, employee benefit scheme, schedule of accounts, relevant material agreements. So all the agreements with the customers, suppliers, and employees can be taken over. Latest shareholding pattern, directorship. You can go to the MCA site and check whatever about the directors or disqualification of directors, etc. Schedule of locations, so all the plant locations can be taken. Financial statement, schedule of leases. I would like to add one here is insurance of employees, gratuity, assets, staff, medical, nowadays COVID insurance, etc. So ratio analysis. Lastly, I would like to say that these are the very much important inventory turnover ratio, receivable turnover ratio, working capital ratio. These are the indicators which can give you a glance of it. Asset turnover ratio, number of days of from material to cash, liquidity ratio, current ratio, and liquid ratio. Solvency ratios are debt to asset, debt to equity, asset to equity, where you can say that there has to be 2:1, then this is also 2:1, then asset to equity. Some norms can be taken from the industry. Coverage ratio is interest coverage ratio, that will show you the how the profitability is covering the interest. Then cash flow to the debt ratio. Then one more thing is DSCR ratio, debt service coverage ratio, how the profit is covering your debt and the principal and the interest. Then gross profit margin ratio and operating margin ratio. These are the ratios which gives you another indicator for the solvency, coverages, and profitability ratios. Friend, this is it for the due diligence. Thank you very much.